Welcome back, Fantasy Endgame fam, fantasy baseball players. We are back another week, pretty much in the books. Hopefully, you all took down the win this week or had great weeks in your roto categories leagues. But it's time to get ready for the week ahead because that's what we do here. We're getting you ready. It's the stretch run. We're coming up on the fantasy playoffs. Got to get you ready. And of course, one of the big things you can do to help your team out is those two-start streamers. Pierre, we always jump into the two starters. It looks like we got a nice list this week. A lot of options.
A lot of options, yeah. At this point, they're pretty much all familiar faces. The toughest thing is ranking and figuring out who to trust and who not to trust. And so we also have to keep in mind, what we used to think, oh, it's a great schedule. It may not be a great schedule anymore. And so I I had to kind of adjust my thinking because there's a couple times I see the White Sox on there, like, oh, wait a minute. No, they're good now. The trade deadline changed things, so you got to keep in mind not just these pitchers the way they've performed might be different from earlier in the season, but the schedule itself. But it almost makes it a little easier. You know who the contenders, at least the ones who think they're contenders, are, and you definitely know who the non-contenders are. So we'll see if it plays out. Of course, it doesn't always play out the way we think it will.
That's true. That's true of anything in life, especially fantasy baseball, any fantasy sports. So let's jump right into it with an athletics pitcher. Jeffrey Springs, I mean, he's been pretty solid this year. 13 quality starts on the season, 3 straight quality starts. So if you're in a quality start stats league, I mean, that's nice. Wins, it's the athletics, maybe not. But I think this is a good schedule this week. I don't think we can even argue it. He gets the Rays away from Tampa Bay, although unfortunately it is in athletics ballpark. And then the Angels, although Joe Adell back on a heater this week. But I mean, Jeffrey Springs has been so good. It doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, he's definitely settled down. He's been very up and down. Sometimes you can trust him, sometimes you can't. But he's been pretty solid lately. And keep in mind, this is a Rays team that now without Jonathan Aranda, who had been basically maybe not their best, but one of their best hitters, maybe behind, like Junior Caminero. Not a fearsome lineup. Once you get past the first couple of names, past Caminero in the cleanup spot, yeah, that lineup's not scary. So he gets to face his former team, and then the Angels, I'm not too worried about. They still strike out a lot. So yeah, Springs, I think, is your definitely highest floor option here. Guy who I feel like will not kill you, but I think there's enough of a ceiling here as well.
All right, and then how about a guy, Cade Horton, who's been mostly good this year? I was rolling him out there like start after start every week, but unfortunately, the one thing I've noticed if you're in a quality starts league is, man, he rarely goes 6 innings, but he's got 4 straight scoreless starts. Now, he does get the Blue Jays. I don't know if they've been as hot as they were in Colorado for that 3-game series when they scored like 50 runs in 3 games. But they do have some bats in that lineup. But then he gets the Pirates, which is like pitching gold. So how are we feeling about Cade Horton this week?
Much better than we did a couple of weeks ago. I mean, young pitcher. You already know the inconsistency is there. He'll look great, and then he'll look terrible, and you just got to pick your spots. But all of a sudden, like you said, 4 straight scoreless starts. The problem is he's not going 6 innings, basically. Most of those times, it's not like a given, but if you're in a quality starts league, that does kind of ding him a little bit. But man, you'll take it if he's not getting hit hard and he's figuring things out. It's just another one of those young pitchers. Needed some experience. Now maybe he's got enough under his belt. He's figured things out. So he does have a higher ceiling because he can get those K numbers. Blue Jays, not the best spot, but then facing Pittsburgh, his second start, that is the best spot.
Yeah, absolutely the best. That's like I said, gold for pitchers. All right, another guy who's kind of been up and down this year, but at least he gives you some strikeout potential, although the numbers have dropped a little bit. That's Will Warren of the Yankees. And look, and if you're in a wins league, well, I don't even know. Can we even say good win chance right now for the Yankees? Like, what's going on with the Yankees? But you got to think at some point they're going to start winning ball games, and maybe it's this week against the Twins, Cardinals. I mean, this is another guy with a great schedule this week. Neither of those lineups scare me off of Will Warren. How about you?
Right, exactly. And the Yankees, okay, well, this is a different Yankees team, but it's the Twins and the Cardinals. Any team will have a good chance to get wins there. that Twins lineup. But look, so he used to be Will Warren's guy. Okay, he'll get you a ton of strikeouts, but you're not sure exactly as far as the ratios. But now it's like things are evening out a little bit. Like the K numbers aren't as gaudy, but he's trading that off for not giving up as many runs. I think you'll take that. But again, with this schedule, he's still got to be probably one of the best options out there. And he's realistically available, I think, in the majority of fantasy leagues.
All right, how about another New York pitcher, but this time for the Mets? Clay Holmes gets a nice, well, I don't know how I feel about this schedule because my boy, Big Dumper, who's red hot again, can't stop hitting home runs again, is on the Mariners. Gets the Braves, who are pretty banged up right now, and then the Mariners. Like the Mariners, we know like that's a lineup that can no-show on any given day. Kind of like Cade Horton here, though. Probably not going to get a quality start because I'm looking. He hasn't gone 6 innings since at least June 13th and probably longer. So maybe more a play in your wins league than your quality starts league.
Yeah, almost definitely will not get you a quality start. But I will say this with Clay Holmes, a lot of people were just ready to write him off for the second half completely. Like, yeah, this is one of those guys who's converted from a reliever to a starter. They're going to put a cap on his innings. He's not going to be as valuable. He is still at least going 5 innings almost every time out. In fact, 7 of his last 8 starts, he's gone 5 innings or more. And by more, I mean like 5 1/3 or 5 2/3. He's not going 6. But they at least leave him out there for 5, which means he can get a win. So Clay Holmes still does have value. He's still been pretty good. The Mariners, much better offense now. It's not a great matchup there. But the Braves, again, and for anybody who hasn't wrapped their head around this yet, they are a bottom 10 offense, and Ronald Acuna is not there. So that's a really good matchup for him.
All right, then another guy, man, it's funny. Like a lot of these names were guys I was just rolling out Chris Paddock every week for a while. Then he kind of fell off a little bit, but he did bounce back in his last couple starts prior to this latest one. Went 6 innings, gave up 1 earned run against the Dodgers. That's pretty nice. 6 innings, 1 earned run against the Diamondbacks. Also nice. So then what does he do against the Twins? Of course, he gets lit up in 4 innings for 4 earned runs because, hey, when you shut down 2 of the best offenses, you got to get lit up by one of the worst offenses. But he's been mostly solid this year. Now, again, you talked about it. You look at it. This is a good schedule, White Sox and Twins. But are the White Sox really a good matchup right now?
That's why he's lower on this list. It's not a good matchup against the White Sox. Honestly, this was disappointing that against the Twins, his former team that just traded him to a contender, you thought that was just like a layup, right? You thought he would be motivated, but no, apparently not. I gotta think he'll do better against the Twins. So really, the schedule is kind of half good, half bad. Paddock overall, though, he's one of those players who kind of just always sits firmly in the middle, right? He can get you some strikeouts, but don't expect a lot. He does give you a really good chance for a win or two, though, at least.
All right, let's move over to a Washington Nationals pitcher, Cade Cavalli. Is that how you pronounce his name? Cade Cavalli?
Yep.
I'd say, yeah, another guy where you look at the matchups, you're like, ooh, that's good. And then you're like, ooh, that's scary. Royals and Phillies. Of course, Royals great. Phillies not so great. And of course, being on the Nationals, maybe not a very high win chance, but this guy's got 79 strikeouts in 74 innings, so at least he gets you that. Ratios could be better. 5.35 ERA, 1.45 whip. So are we trusting him for both starts this week?
Well, here's where we start rolling the dice. So Cavalli, at one time a very high-end prospect. This has been years of the road to recovery. Cavalli was good, even though it was an abbreviated first start on his back. Yeah, the schedule it's tricky because the Royals haven't been scary. They have been predictably better in the second half. Still, it's not a bad matchup at Kauffman Stadium. The Phillies, yeah, that's kind of a scary matchup. So look, if the other guys aren't available, you're willing to risk it. He does have strikeout upside. I'm not saying I want to roll Cavalli out there, but if you're feeling bold, you could do it. Just bet that maybe he's going to show his best in his first couple of starts after 3 years.
All All right. Are you feeling bold about Tyjon Walker? Tajon Walker? I don't know how you pronounce this first. Taiwan? Like the country? Taiwan,
Yep.
like the country? All right. That's easy. Taiwan Walker. He, of course, gets to face the Nationals because he's on the Phillies. So he gets to face the Nationals later in the week. He gets to face the Reds, which is like one of those teams where you're like, ooh, that's a good matchup. But they're in Cincy, which, they seem to hit better at home than on the road. But he's been pretty solid this year. I mean, you look at it, 3.53 ERA. He hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs since June in any start. How are we feeling about him?
Well, this is your boring floor play. He's definitely not getting a lot of strikeouts. But one thing I will say, he's on a team that could get you a win. We know that. And he is starting to go a little deeper. His last outing was really good, went 6 innings. That was the thing, is he hadn't even been going 5 innings in a lot of his starts. But he can do it. I think if he's got everything together, again, not a ton of upside as far as strikeouts, and he's not going to go 7 and go super deep into games. And yeah, they are both road starts, but the first one, yeah, it's okay. It's at the Reds, not ideal, but at the Nats, that is ideal. So I feel like Walker might be a slightly safer alternative to like Cade Cavalli.
All right. There you go. And then now another guy, you look at the schedule and you think, man, how can you not start this guy? Bailey Falter gets the Nationals and the White Sox this week. But again, this isn't your first half White Sox, apparently. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind the fact that Bailey Falter, another guy who does not very often go deep into games and does not give you a ton of strikeout upside. I mean, he did have that random like 8 strikeout game against the Tigers on the 23rd, but yeah, 2 strikeouts, 1 strikeout, 2 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts, 1 strike. Yeah, not going to get a lot in the K department here. So, I mean, what do we even call this?
Desperation? Yeah. This is your I need somebody who can get me some innings and potentially eat innings without killing me. That's kind of all Billy Falter is here. So kind of a poor man's Taiwan Walker, if you want to call it that. But keep in mind we're getting deep here.
We're getting deep, and now we're getting to the deepest here. That's Ryan Nelson, who, look, I've been holding on to him and rolling him out there, even though like his last couple starts, I mean, they haven't been bad, right? 1 earned run, 5 1/3 inning, 2 earned runs, 5 2/3 innings, struck out 8 in each of those games. Not getting me the quality starts, but man, I feel like he's still been kind of solid. Schedule this week is interesting. You get Texas, the Rangers, who have not really hit all year much. And you get the Rockies in Colorado, which is always scary. I'll probably roll them out for both starts, but I can't say I'm going to feel warm and fuzzy about it.
No, I can't feel too warm and fuzzy about the Diamondbacks these days. And I was much higher on Nelson earlier in the season, and he hasn't been bad. I mean, really hasn't given up very many runs at all in his last few starts. But he also doesn't strike out many batters. Now his chance to earn a win, I think I've got to be lower than almost all these pitchers, even Falter, and the quality starts always up in the air. So I will say I probably could have him higher on this list, but like you said, it's 2 road starts, and in Colorado, even with this iteration of the Rockies, it's still very risky. And so, yeah, I think the schedule just pushes him to the bottom.
All right, well, there you go. There's the 2-start streamers for the week. If you're feeling brave, or maybe you have some of the higher end guys, that's great. Of course, you're going to have way more questions than this, and that's what we're here for, to answer your questions. And I do need to remind you, if you want to jump to the front of the line, you're impatient, you don't want to wait, or you just want to say thanks for all the hard work this season that Pierre's put into the channel, you can drop that super chat, and that will get you right to the front of the line. But let's jump right into it. And, it's football season. Let's start with an injury. Although, what's interesting is, in my experience playing fantasy baseball, I feel like baseball players get hurt more often than football players, and then they're out longer than football players, but I digress. All right, Keith saying somebody dropped Logan Henderson. Logan Henderson, hoping, this is according to MLB.com. Brewers rookie right-hander Logan Henderson was hoping for the best as he awaited the results of an MRI scan on Friday, but it was impossible to have the disappointment being sidelined. He was placed on the 15-day injury list, retroactive to Monday with right elbow inflammation. Pierre, you know how I feel about elbow pitcher injuries. He's done. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. He's done. It's over. He's done. Logan Henderson's season is over. But anyways, help Keith out here. If Logan Henderson's out there, am I right? Is he done? Or is there a chance? Are you going to add him?
It's a good chance you want to hear my answer. But I'm going to say no to Henderson. It's just not worth the risk. He's definitely not a must-add, and I don't know when he's going to – they're not going to rush him back. There's no reason for that. You know what I mean? So I think it's too risky here.
Well, they're not going to rush him back because, unfortunately, it's going to be season-ending Tommy John surgery.
Well,
keep in mind, I'm not a doctor. All right. So Keith also asking, Willie Adames or Matt Shaw in a category league?
Willie Adames is, he's a bust, right? He's got to be a draft bust. There's no way around it. He's been pretty disappointing all season. I haven't seen it like enough of a dramatic turnaround to think that I want him down the stretch. The thing is, you see categories league. He gives you nothing in two categories. He gives you no steals, which figured would happen going to San Francisco. And he kind of hurts you in batting average. He's in 231. He was a little bit better lately, but still, he gets you some power. Just give me Shaw and hope that what Shaw does down the stretch, is more, because at least he can give you something in steals. And for as bad as Shaw was early in the year, I don't think his batting average is going to be worse than Adames.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Keith. And then F just dropping in to say, thank you for attending the Luke Keishel fan club tonight. This guy, batting 415 right now. 2 home runs, 5 steals. This is
I don't get it all right, but one thing I will, I'm going to, if I did, which I probably will, if I'm going to take any victory laps at the end of the year, this will be one. And just saying, look, just pick him up. Just Luke Keishel. Yes, pick him up. And I don't mean like just this week. 3 weeks ago, I said it before he first came up the first time, months ago, before he got hurt. Imagine what this guy could have done if we didn't get hit by a pitch and have a fractured arm. Man, he could have been rookie of the year contender. But anyways, you're welcome.
All right. Then we got N6 RCS. What is up? Pitching staff is Joe Ryan, Framber Valdez, Sean Manaea, The Miz, Chase Burns, Mitch Keller.
Not sure. Javier, who just came back.
Not sure. What's that?
I don't
even know who Javier is.
I think he just came back. He's for the Astros.
Okay, Spencer Arrighetti, Edward Cabrera, Javier again, 2 Javiers. Nathan Eovaldi, Michael King. When's the last time Michael King pitched? Tanner Bybee. All right. I don't know how deep your rosters are, but you have a lot of pitchers. Would you drop 1 or 2 of these guys for Zebby Matthews?
It's funny because Zebby Matthews should be slated to make 2 starts this week, and he could have been on the list, and I specifically omitted him from the list because he's got a rough schedule. Talk about a rough schedule. But I just don't trust that Zebby is ready yet. I just don't see it. I know a lot of people are high on him. Look, you could be high on him long term, but this year I do not see Zebby Matthews helping your fantasy team. He'll look good in flashes, but I don't want to do it. I'm a little skeptical of Christian Javier, but at least we've seen he can be productive. So my short answer to this is no.
All right. And then second question, he's got Marcelo Zuna, Ryan O'Hearn, and Spencer Steer are his first baseman, DH, and outfielders. Would you drop any of these guys for Kyle Manzardo? Is Kyle Manzardo hot again? Is he on fire again or something?
No, not on fire. He's been better in the second half, but yeah, all these guys, that's the thing. I think you can kind of lump these guys all together in a similar fashion. Manzardo did have a good day today, but it's not like he's been like an extended streak of on fireness. So yeah, I like Manzardo better in general. I'm trying to think which one would I drop here. I know O'Hearn is not necessarily going to get as consistent playing time. I think he might be the one. Yeah, probably O'Hearn.
All right, there you go. Thank you for those as always. All right, back to Keith. All right. Is William Contreras back in the circle of trust, or what does he need to do? He's got, I mean, look, okay, it's technically not August. It was July 30th, but in August, he essentially has 6 home runs to bring his total up to a whopping 12. So he's doubled his home run total. He's been hitting better. Is he back in the circle of trust? What's up with his hand injury? And would you rather have him or Ivan Herrera in categories?
Ooh, that's tough. Okay, so he's obviously still out there. We haven't heard anything about his hand bothering him, and all of a sudden he's hitting home runs. So I guess you have to just roll with him. It's just funny because he had that weekend or whatever. He had a couple home runs, and this is it. And then he went like 0 for 5, 0 for 5, 0 for 3, and then he hit home runs again. I think I would still keep Contreras now that he's actually showing he can hit for power again, which why all of a sudden, who knows? Maybe the break did him some good. It's possible. Yeah, I think I'll go Contreras. As far as trust, hard to trust Herrera. He's been on the IL so many times already this year. So I would stick with Contreras.
All right, and then we got Torito 5. Prospect question. Do you think Brandon Sporat and Nolan McLean get the call with all the recent call-ups from the Mets?
Well, I touched on this in the recent Beat the Breakout. Right now, as it stands, there is no need for them to call anybody up because I got Montes back up IL, Manea's back. Their rotation is pretty set, and a lot of people are like, well, Clay Holmes, they'll just move him to the bullpen. They're not. So I think right now you're going to see them. We might wait until late August or even the September call-ups. So I wouldn't assume that we see them as of right this moment.
All right. Pierre, there's an old adage in fantasy: start your studs. Right?
It's true.
But what if your stud has not pitched since my birthday and has to come back to face the Phillies? Are you doing it with Hunter Green this week?
Well, it's tricky because this is his first start after a long time being missed. He is a stud, but he's not a sure thing, if you know what I mean. There's guys because he's already one of those guys who can be up and down. I think it's too risky. I probably wouldn't. I'd wait and see. You know what? They might not even push him to go that deep into the game anyways.
All right. F, talking about the 2-start streamers. I guess he's only talking about the 1-star because he's just showing their first matchup. All right, maybe he's got the lineup so you got to set it a week ahead. All right, pick 2 out of Ryan Nelson, Will Warren, Jacob Lopez, Cade Cavalli, or Aaron Savali.
Can I just say Jacob Lopez is one of those guys I will just never get over how he can be so extreme, good or bad. And he's only bad like when you start him, and he's only good when he's on the waiver wire. That's just what he's going to be. So
tell me you started Jacob Lopez this week without telling me you started Jacob Lopez.
I like your safest pick actually might be Savali. The way he's rolling, I think Savali is one. Pick another one. I just mentioned Ryan Nelson. He's like at the bottom of the streaming list. He's fine, but let's go with somebody who's a little more exciting, got some more strikeout upside. Let's go with Will Warren. So I'll go Savali and Warren. I feel like that's a nice balance of floor and ceiling.
All right, there you go. Then he also wants to know, is Kyle Finnegan the closer now?
I mean, pretty much unofficially, Tigers are one of those teams that won't ever just use one guy exclusively. Vest will still be out there sometimes, They've at least kind of gone away from the really aggravating committee they had last year. They mainly used 2 guys this year. If you want to say he's the closer, I think that's pretty accurate.
All right, then back to N6 RCS. Wants to know, when do you expect Taj Bradley or Mick Abel to get called up?
So both of these guys, the Twins, are keeping AAA to work on some pitches, right? Work some things out. In other words, do the things that they need to get done. Just led them to be traded in the first place. So Bradley, I don't feel like it's going to be too long. I mean, he didn't have that much to work on realistically. I feel like we'll see him probably another week or two. Abel, they might not rush up, but again, there's not like there's anybody holding him back. You know what I mean? It's not like they have any reason not to give him some more looks in the majors. So I gotta think Bradley soon, a week or two. Abel might be shortly thereafter.
All right, then Mr. Waking Up wants to know, would you trade Bryce Harper, Kettle Marte, and Lucas Giolito for Christian Walker, Manny Machado, and George Kirby in a points league?
Okay, let's process this. Harper. So I guess you're getting the second side. I think it's even though he's not having his best season, I think it's an upgraded pitcher. Kirby more steady. You're getting Machado versus Harper, right? Those are the kind of the studs you're swapping. I'd rather have Marte than Walker. I don't know. This one's close. This is really close. I'm not sure realistically doing this if you're gaining a whole lot. I mean, this, despite it being three different players on each side, I mean, I'm kind of trying to figure out the rationale here. It's sort of a lateral move. I guess I'll put it that way. I would rather have George Kirby. So I guess in that sense, it might stabilize your pitching. I know Giolito has been, to me, surprisingly good, but I'd still rather have Kirby down the stretch. I don't feel like there's one side or the other that clearly wins this, I guess I could say. Walker's the one I'm just a little skeptical of. Like, I think I feel better having Harper Marte as opposed to Walker Machado, but I still prefer Kirby. So points league. Yeah, I guess in the points league, it's fine. You get Walkers, and it's fine. This trade's fine. It's fine.
I guess it's fine.
I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion either way on this, honestly.
All right, Harry Brooks, what's up? Wants to know, would you had Colson Montgomery or Xavier Edwards in a head-to-head points league?
I think we got to go Montgomery at this point. You know, Edwards, his value lies in steals. That helps you in a points league, but not as much as in a roto league. But he's not hitting 300 plus, and just give me Montgomery. Dude has been good since he got called up.
All right, then many people saying Michael King pitched yesterday, and he was terrible. Okay, well, there you go.
Well, he missed how much time? I mean, I think he'll be okay eventually.
All right. All right, here we go. Fantasy sports. How do you rank these waiver wire ads? Jacob Lopez, Bailey Ober, Zebby Matthews, Drew Rasmussen. Is he still barely pitching any innings? Ryan Nelson and Cade Horton.
Ranking them. All right. Now, Bailey Ober's interesting now because he came back and he was pretty solid in his last start. Are we going to throw him at the top of the list? I think we probably should. So let's go Ober 1. As I mentioned, Horton would be 2. It's tough to figure out exactly what to do with Rasmussen. I mean, he's not nearly as valuable as he was early in the season, but he's not worthless either. I mean, he's still getting innings. So I guess let's go Rasmussen 3. So Ober, Horton, Rasmussen, Lopez, Nelson, Zebby.
All right, there you go. And then super chat from Scott. Thank you so much. Wants to know, is Cole Reagan's worth a stash? Also, Mackenzie Gore and Chase Burns are free agents. Are they worth a pickup? It's a 10-team categories league. He's top 2. Yeah, so let's get him to top 1.
Top 2. Nice. All right. Okay. Is Reagan's worth a stash? Yeah, I haven't heard, honestly, anything recently about him having a setback. So that's a good thing. But at the same time, he isn't on the verge of coming back. So you're really stashing, hoping he comes back, you know, for the very end of the season, like your fantasy playoffs. He's throwing, but not even off a mound. So really, if you're stashing, it's just to hope that he's here for the last 2 weeks of the season. It's iffy. So I wouldn't drop anybody really good for him, but if you have room, you could stash him. I'm gonna still hold on to Gore because, as I've said, Gore has been bad lately. He's gotten lit up a couple of times, but he kind of did this last year where he was really good first half and then all of a sudden looked like he was just out of it. In the September, he bounced back strong. He could still bounce back. So I think Gore is worth stashing. Burns is a lot riskier. Give me Gore instead.
All right, there you go. All right, Durf Boy. How far the mighty have fallen? Where are we at here? Are we dropping? Are we dropping the preseason hype train of Jackson Merrill for the current hype train of the unstoppable league winner, your boy, who finally looks like he has a picture, Jacob Marcy? Jacob Marcy batting a cool .419 with a home run and 5 steals in just 31 plate appearances this year. Going to carry my team, the SoCal Express. Going to carry the SoCal Express to a fantasy championship this year. But are you dropping Jackson Merrill for him? Or would you drop to stash Christian Campbell?
You know what? Let's do it. Merrill, it looked like he was maybe turning a corner, right? He had a little hit streak and he was actually driving in runs. And now all of a sudden this past week, it's just like nothing. But guess what's still not there? He's not hitting home runs. He's not stealing bases. I mean, this is kind of depressing, but you know what? Just go with the guy who's helping you. That's fine. I don't assume Marcy will keep this up, but you know what? Then you drop him for somebody else. But is Merrill really helping your fantasy team?
He's just got to keep it up for one more month. That's it. Then he can next year he can go back to being he can be terrible next year. It's fine.
All right, just keep it up 1 month.
Just this year's Bowden Francis, but for a hitter. All right, Tyler Durden with our weekly Bubba Chandler question. Will he make a start? I guess not in the minor. Will he make a major league start this year?
Probably. I would think he'll make at least one start. But then the question is, does it matter for us? Are you taking that chance that he's good? And is he getting you a win? No. The ship sailed a long time ago. I think our Bubba Chandler interest has to be in dynasty only.
All right, then Skywalker trade. He's going to trade away Vinny P and Hoffman. So, in what order should he target a return from these starting pitchers? Max Fried, Nathan Eovaldi, Framber Valdez, or Shota Imanaga to make a fair offer? What's fair here?
Yeah, and I think I had answered this in the Discord, but I'm glad to do that to get those pitchers or any one of those pitchers. He's asking what's fair, and I get that. You don't want to, insult somebody with an offer. I mean, I don't think it's insulting anyways, but if I remember, I think in the comment he had said that the other owner reached out to him and said, "Hey, I want those players, Vinny P and Hoffman." So like, okay, well, who are you willing to give up here? I mean, Valdez and Eovaldi have been amazing. That's kind of a lot to give up. I think Imanaga is a decent buy low. I think that's fair. Fried has been struggling compared to the early part of the season. He hasn't been as great overall. I would ask for Fried, and if they balk at that, I mean, assuming that they don't want to give up Framber Valdez, then I would be fine with Imanaga. I mean, I would take any of those pitchers for that return. I don't think any of those would be insulting. I probably wouldn't ask for Valdez, but you can try.
All right. There you go. Thank you, Skywalker. And the TM, so some pitchers we talked about today. I don't know if he's saying how to rank them this week because you already ranked them for the week, so maybe rest of the season. How do you rank these guys? Kate Cavalli, Ryan Nelson, Kate Horton.
Rest of the season, I think Horton probably should be 1. Cavalli is still a big unknown, and we'll see how he holds up. So, I mean, I do feel like there's more upside here with Cavalli than with Nelson because he will get more strikeouts. So let's be optimistic, and we'll go Horton 1, Cavalli 2, Nelson 3.
All right, there we go. And then fantasy sports, another question. Are there any prospects to stash before before Thursday?
Well, of course, and that's why we do the breakout.
Thursday, the deadline, they call it prospects or whatever.
Yeah, there's going to be on a little flurry on I think this is the 15th. But I'll probably spend more time going through the list and tell you on this week's Beat the Breakout. Now I have talked about some guys in the last week or two. The Orioles just make sense. Dylan Beavers, yes, is probably one of them who should be at the top of the list. Are we going to see Basayo? I don't know. We should. Possibly Sal Stewart for the Reds is a name I haven't specifically mentioned yet. Some people think we might see Bryce Eldridge for the Giants, but I don't know. Painter, you would think he would come up. But go through the top of the list and probably lay that out in the next video. Weatherholt, I don't know. We'll see about Weatherholt.
All right, then back to N6 RCS. Remember his O'Hearn question. Baldwin is on waivers too. Would you pick him up over Manzardo and slide Baldwin into the utility spot?
Yeah. Yeah, I would do that. I would rather have Baldwin probably than any of those players. And I actually still might pick up Manzardo and drop another one of those guys. Maybe like a Spencer Steer or somebody.
All right. And then I got to quickly say hi to Andrea and also say, Andrea, I am sorry for the thrashing I put on you this week.
Sorry, but not sorry.
you ran in to the show Cal Express. You won't be the last. You won't be the last to run into the show. Cal Express is unstoppable right now. Cal Raleigh and Shohei Ohtani on the same team. Freddie Freeman actually hitting again. Shea Langoliers can't stop. People say, "Oh, you need two catchers." Well, if you got Cal Raleigh and Shea Langoliers, you do. He can't stop hitting home runs. Yeah.
That dude is, I don't know what got into him over the break. He's been insane.
I don't know either, but I hope he keeps it going. I might have set an end game record for home runs this week. I'm not sure. And I had 3 homers. I left 3 home runs on my bench. That was crazy. All right. We got a super chat from Christian Diaz saying, thinking of slumping Eugenio Suarez. See, okay. I'll say this. What?
Just want to make sure. Eugenio Suarez, is that, just to clarify, Christian, that's what you're thinking of dropping? I want to make sure.
I'm assuming so. Because look, this is how it goes. If you read the player chats in Yahoo, you'll understand. Cal Raleigh went like a week and a half where he hit like 1 home run, hit like 150, struck out like 10 times, and people were like, it's over. It's all over. Drop this guy. It's over. You know what I mean? Trade him away. And then what did he do this week? He back on fire, hitting a bunch of home runs, mashing. Like, you can't just give up on these guys this quick. But I will say, on his waiver wire is Max Muncy, who's also been on fire, Augustin Ramirez, and Andrew Vaughn. So are you dropping Suarez for any of these guys? He's currently first place. Is this a league-losing move?
All right. Put it this way, Christian. You're in first place. The huge part of the reason you're in first place is because of Chino Suarez. I get it. Seattle is not a good place, right, for a hitter. It's not as good, and he hasn't been as good since going there. It's only been less than 2 weeks. He's going to be okay. And even if he's amazing the rest of the season, he's still going to be okay. And I would still take him over Max Muncy or Ramirez or Vaughn or any of those guys. So do not drop Suarez. No, do not drop.
Don't drop Suarez.
Ramirez for Vaughn. Okay, I can do that. I mean, if Ramirez is not your starting catcher, you already have a good catcher, and you want Vaughn. Yeah, Vaughn is just ridiculously hot, and it doesn't look like it's changing. So I'm surprised he's on waivers, but yeah, you can pick up Vaughn for Ramirez. Do not drop Suarez.
All right, and then Keith with another one. Who does he drop when Byron Buxton comes back? Isaac Collins or Ramon Laureano?
Yeah, 2 of the hot waiver wire pickups. Who do I realistically think might kind of keep up what he's been doing? Look, Laureano has taken to hitting even in San Diego. And we think that's a situation where it's not a great hitter's park and it's been a bad offense, but he's actually still been doing something since he's been traded. So I think I would rather drop Collins and keep Laureano.
You sniped me on Laureano. Has he been good?
Pretty good. Not amazing, not as like crazy hot as he was right before, but he's at least done something. Unlike the rest of my outfield.
That's all right. I got Jacob Marcy. I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's this is how baseball goes, huh?
Yeah, that's how all fantasy sports go. Like, think about the randoms you pick up in fantasy football at the end of the season that go off. All right, N6 RCS. Last question. Allegedly, we'll see. And it's okay. It's okay if you ask another one. Thank you. Appreciate that. You can also drop Mason Wynn. He's got Ezekiel Tover and Pena. Wynn is in his utility.
Yeah, you can drop Wynn. He's okay, but Tovar has been really good since he's been back. Pena, should be rock solid. You can go with any of those other guys for some more upside. The real reason to be interested in Mason Wynn is because of steals. At least I'm thinking preseason, people thought, hey, this guy could be, 40 steal. No, he's not even getting. He doesn't even have double digits. That's insane. He has no stolen bases, basically. I mean, he does have some, but yeah, he's been pretty disappointing. So you can definitely drop Mason Wynn.
All right. And then it looks like we are actually all caught up, guys. About the 45-minute mark here. Appreciate you guys being on here. Sorry, I thought it was a question.
Yeah, he's saying, give me the drops from Manzardo and Baldwin. I would drop Wynn and O'Hearn.
There you go. Wynn and O'Hearn it is. All right, guys. And then Riverboat, Rob. Who is Kyle Karros in the minors? I know who his dad is. Anything close to Pop Karros?
Like the son of Eric Karros. Well, Kyle Karros is he's another one of these Rockies who's getting a chance, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see if he does anything. This could be another Bernabell situation where he's hot for a week and then does not much. He's not a guy who has tremendous upside. We'll put it that way. So I wouldn't have him too much on the radar.
All right. And with that, we are done, guys. Appreciate you very much. I think, Pierre, is this right? We are just going to be doing Sunday streams from here on out. Is that correct?
Yeah, I know sometimes we had been doing the Wednesday midweek streams, but we're going to have to probably save those for next season because football season is about to be in full swing. So we're going to still do the 2-star streamers for a little while longer, though, until September starts.
All right, guys, we'll be here to help you win your fantasy championship. Don't worry about it. And of course, if you do play fantasy football, we're here to help you win that championship too. Go check out the football channel, Fantasy Egg Game Football, obviously. And don't forget, still got videos coming out every week on the baseball channel here to help you win. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button. Click that bell notification so you know when a video drops, when we're live. All right, everybody. Appreciate you being on here. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you next week.